Hello, all viewers. I am Rajas Joshi, and we at Sports for All welcome all viewers to our webinar Kids Sport Country, and to this particular one, which is about the importance of early nutrition in sports fitness. It is my honor and pleasure to introduce our diverse set of panelists today. To start off with, Ms. Kinita Kadakia Patel. Hi, Kinita. Welcome. She is India's leading sports
Hi.
nutritionist. She's established a leading nutrition center called Meal Pyramid, which is based out of Mumbai with various centers. It focuses on sports nutrition. It focuses on gain, kids nutrition, fat loss, amongst various other nutrition related aspects. She's also the official sports nutritionist of the Mumbai Indians at the IPL. And in addition to that, she's part of various institutions and won various affiliations, recognition, as well as Best Nutritionist of the Year by Vogue. She's also written a book named The Athlete in You. And as I mentioned, she's part of various institutes that represent the nutrition industry as a whole. Moving over to our second panelist, Amey Chandavarkar. Hi, Amey. Welcome on board. So Amey is the executive director of India's premier pharma company, FDC Limited. For those you are aware and may not be aware, FDC Limited is actually a company that produces, manufactures various medicines amongst the popular brands Enazal and Electrol. He himself, in fact, is a sports enthusiast and fitness enthusiast, having played tennis at the junior elite level back in his heydays as a junior sports person. Welcome, welcome, Amey, and we'll be looking forward to getting your views.
Thanks a lot, Rajas. Pleasure, privilege to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. And we have another interesting guest and panelist, Nathan DeMello. Nathan is an athlete himself. He's 17 years old and currently training to be he's an aspiring cricketer, training to play cricket for our country someday. Currently training at the sports school. He has also represented UAE at the Asia Cup and also won various accolades during the tournament. Such as Man of the Series and Man of the Match awards. So now to jump right into the session, not wasting any more time. Who better to start this session but with Kinita, who is, like I said, India's leading nutritionist. Kinita, jumping right in.
Yeah, let's go. Shoot.
To our first question, yes. What do you think? What are the key aspects of nutrition for every growing child? Irrespective of whether they're playing sport or not. And as a second part of the question, if you could tell our viewers, is there a significant difference in the nutrition, for a child that actually plays sport versus a child that may not be pursuing sport?
Yeah. We basically categorize children or kids nutrition, and I typically like to break them down from anywhere from the age of 8 up till 18. Now, why this range is critical is because 8 is when you actually start uh, understanding or having reasoning with yourself whether you really want to pursue or play a certain kind of a sport. Till then, you're just doing activities, you're just an active child because your parents want you to play a certain sport. By the time you're 11, and here is when everything changes, right? Because your major puberty starts happening. And this phase becomes very critical and is highly misunderstood. अभी puberty में क्या होता है? When you're looking at that age, you're looking at a huge hormonal change. And the basics of that is, it is at this time, between the age of 18 to 16, when you get your peak height, your hormones are starting to settle or create a new high or a new low. The menstrual cycle starts kicking in, so there could be multiple hormonal issues which are related to growth and nutrition. So this is where hamara ek fundamental requirement starts coming up. Like I have observed a lot of athletes have a huge age of 14, 15 because they are not able to cope up with the pubertal demands. which
Right.
can result into a lot of fatigue, lot of, the schedule is very demanding if you're trying to aspire a sport in that phase. So
Right.
if you think of कोई भी sport ले लो, say let's say take cricket as an example, take tennis as an example. Your schedule is demanding to an extent where if I have to just broadly throw it to you, wake up at 4:35, which is demanding for 11, 14-year-old age group. Wake up, go for your first training, go to school, have your breaks, eat your lunch, meal, etc. Finish, you directly go to your next session. You may have a fitness, you may have a court session, and then you're recovering and time for dinner and studies. Now, this is typically how a routine is of any child athlete who's pursuing a sport. But here you will see a significant difference between an athlete, a child athlete, an active child. You could be having a similar routine where a parent would come to me and say, my child loves playing football. That does not mean I put them on a sports nutrition plan. Okay, they are playing football means doesn't mean they wake up at 5 in the morning and do a disciplined regimental training. So his nutritional requirement is very different because he comes under the active recreational sport where in the building in the evening he goes for 2 hours, he's playing football. Compared to an other child who's actually trying to pursue that sport from the athletic point of view. So here becomes the demand. Your peak bone mass, your muscle mass, your fat mass, your the menstrual cycle, the iron demand, calcium demand. Here is my critical phase, and that is how I would differentiate. Even when I get parents, I have to sit and explain to them. Listen, your child is an active child. He requires nutrition for an active kid. And listen, your child is pursuing a sport. He's under a regimen. Then his demand is more so to do with competitive pursuing of pre-competition, during competition kind of a nutrition plan. So that is how, while this phase is extremely critical, and also Rajas, what happens now, this age, you start making choices, correct? You decide to suddenly become vegetarian, you decide to become vegan, you start getting averse to food, you start getting conscious about your body type. We face this issue, and it's not just with girls, it's even with boys who start getting, who land up digressing a bit. Rather than taking up the sport, they get more into getting the physique. So that kind of psychological consultation for them is very critical through this phase. So it's an important phase, and it's a teamwork. You need to have your nutritionist, your athlete, your whoever works well with their mind. You need to have your coach, your trainer. It's a lot of thinking, and only then can an athlete pursue something at that age group.
Brilliant. So just to sum that off, it's definitely a big difference as compared to a child who's an active child versus a child who's actually pursuing sport.
Correct.
So all those coaches and parents listening, a point to note that yes, nutrition is important for all, but when it comes to active kids who are actively pursuing sport, it becomes that much more important to follow a regimented diet.
It's obvious, right? Their demand is of an activity at least 2 hours of additional physical or mental activity over and above the same routine that their peers are doing. So the demand fundamentally, mathematically increases. How much increases then becomes the nutrition calculation.
Great. Moving over to this next question, Ameya. Ameya, over the years, NSL has been part of the phase where sports nutrition, has increasingly become an integral part, of fitness, of performance, of overall conditioning. So how do you see, hydration as part of nutrition? How do you see hydration, as a key aspect that contributes to overall nutrition?
So, Rajas, balanced and scientific hydration is an integral part of overall nutrition and specifically relevant to sports nutrition. So, if you think of our planet Earth, it's 70% water and 30% land. And in the same way, each of our bodies are 70% water and 30% hard tissue. So, if you think of our diets, whatever we consume, people often think that if I eat solid foods, I'm not going to get water out of that. Actually, we're all eating mangoes right now. It's the mango season. We're all enjoying mangoes, and mangoes are more than 80% water, and of course, carbohydrate and other vital nutrients, electrolytes. So we have to ensure that we are constantly maintaining that balance of 70-30, and your body automatically, it strives to maintain that balance. It will ask for what it needs. So just to give you an example of now coming to sports nutrition, this was about more than 30 years ago. I was playing a tennis match, and I had prepared. I was very keen to win that tennis match. I had drunk a lot of water, but when I got into the third set, it was a tough match. I started cramping, and so after the match, I realized that even drinking, I think I overdrank water, and that probably led to the sodium level in my body going down, and then that led to muscle weakness and cramps. So since then, I've eaten bananas. I've had Electral, Enerzal. I've had electrolytes to supplement my diet before, during, and after tennis matches. And so that has definitely helped me avoid cramps. And so it's absolutely critical. It's an integral part. It's completely intertwined with nutrition. You can't separate hydration from nutrition.
I think that's
just to
yes.
add to that, Rajat,
Yes,
which
Kiran.
is such an important point Amay is making. A lot of time, even I struggle to explain to parents that it's not about just drinking water. Yes, water is a phenomenal source of hydration, but when you are an active athlete and especially playing in the outdoors with the kind of temperatures that we soar up, it's so important to understand an individual sodium potassium requirement, because what Amay is saying, that sweat loss when you are just replacing with water, cramping is inevitable. You would have had the right pre-workout meal, you would have had your routine exactly the way you were supposed to, but instead of drinking your sports drink, if you land up just drinking pure water, then the sodium potassium chloride completely get depleted, and excess water then dilutes. It's just like, how you dilute, if you have 1 spoon of water in 100 ml, sorry, 1 spoon of sugar in 100 ml of water, and you dilute it and you add 200, you're basically creating a certain kind of pseudo dilution. So you're not reducing the quantity of sugar, you're increasing the quantity of water, and that's what exactly happens in the body. You land up creating a pseudo dilution of the sodium, which can result into cramping. So for anyone out there who's facing that cramping issue, needs to work their hydration strategy out for sure.
Yeah, and I think cramping is something every athlete at any level has definitely faced at some point in time in their sporting careers. And I think a great point there to say that it's not only about consumption of water, but also other nutrients that help avoid those kind of situations. Moving on to you, Nathan, we've heard it from the experts with their initial thoughts, and now to understand an athlete's perspective, and from an aspiring athlete's perspective, what kind of weightage do you allocate to nutrition as part of your overall program for fitness? And when did you actually, at what age did you actually start with some sort of a proper nutritional plan that was probably tailor made to you for your cricketing needs?
So basically, I came into the sport as a very chubby kid. That's, I mean, most of the people, most of the sports people, they come in because of the day and age. So I came into the sport as a very chubby kid, and I realized when I first said, I started cramping a lot when I used to play, and I didn't realize how important nutrition and hydration was in the beginning. But my coaches made me realize how important it was, and from that day, I just cut everything down. I didn't have a nutritional plan in the beginning. I just thought about, I know what was wrong for me because I was eating a lot of junk, and yeah, that was me in the beginning. But I realized how important it was to cut everything and to eat the right stuff at the right time. So I could eat the right stuff, but if I didn't eat it at the right time, it didn't matter at all. So but yeah, my weightage is very high on nutrition, because in sports it starts with nutrition because you need energy throughout the day, and it ends with nutrition as well because you want to recover. So that's how I went through about it, with by the help of my nutritionist and my coach. But then later phases, when I was probably 14, 15, I had a proper nutritional plan, and that was tailor made for me as a kiddo. But that's about it.
So there is a great time to have that tailor-made nutrition plan, like Nita mentioned earlier. It's an age where kids face various transformations internally as well as externally, and so you are in time to get your customized nutrition plan. And I think a very important point you make there about recovery, right? It's not only about what you do before and during, but also recovery. So we'll get back to that in a few questions later. Kinita, coming back to you, if you could, you've been part of various sports disciplines of international, national setups. Whether it's cricket, whether it's running, and various other athletes that you interacted with. Could you, from your experience, give us a case study, a live case study that you've come across, or an example where an athlete's performance has actually changed, whether it's performance or result, but has actually changed significantly with a change in approach towards nutrition?
So it's a great question. I wish it would have been asked to my athlete, then he would have spoken about that little bit of magic that I do with them. But a case study, what comes to my mind, unfortunately, I'll not be able to share the name because I'll maintain confidentiality on that. Just moving a bit from cricket, although I love cricket. So I had an athlete, 13-year-old table tennis player, and the first competitively playing for various gymkhanas and school level, etc. And came to me with just one major complaint, and that was constant fatigue. Now, I sat with him and I asked that plan with his parents, and tried to figure out. It was like any other child. You would see that okay, he's eating that similar kind of food. Of course, there's a little bit of discipline, like Nathan said. I exactly knew what I'm not supposed to eat. So it's very easy to give up the things which you obviously know. But sometimes there are certain foods that you don't know whether they suit you or not, right? And because of that pubertal age, there's a lot of change of response to certain kind of foods that happening. So I have a parent who'll be like, but he's had milk all his life, and suddenly now he gets an aversion, or he gets a stomach stitch, and you're wondering, yaar, ye nahi hona chahiye. It's not sounding right. And over a couple of sessions with him, and honestly, I knew where I was headed because I had a feeling of what was wrong with him. And it turned out to be a very common form of malabsorption, which was eating a load of food which he was hungry for, but he was not absorbing. And he landed up being underweight. His weight was extremely low, but he was a phenomenal player. So when you're eating a lot of food, but you're not gaining weight, when you're eating a lot of food and you're all the time not high on energy, he just needed someone to tell him that something was not right. And then there was a whole history of clinical issues that happened. There was an H. pylori infection, and his stomach was not digesting, the B12 was not absorbing. So all I had to do was cut a lot of processed food, bring in a lot of homemade healthy food, which doesn't need to be boring, please. I'm not saying he started eating boiled vegetables. Okay, so just but bringing in more safer food, which his gut could handle, pumping him with probiotics, giving him B12, getting his gut health back, and getting that hydration. And trust me, it took us around 60 days, and that guy started gaining weight, and the boy has won so many accolades, the fatigue has gone, and we are in a phenomenal space right now. So yeah, that's one of the case studies where nutrition magic just worked. It worked on energy, and the best part was he was an underlying good performer. His performance was not an issue, but his behavioral attitude towards his own body, he couldn't handle that, he couldn't recover, he couldn't handle that he had no energy, when he knew that if he had these two things, he could play like like amazing. So we managed to do that for him, and it worked. So that's an amazing case study I want to share with you all. Sometimes it's not just, that cut the burger, cut the pizza, and you'll start performing. It's not just that. It could be something more than that.
Yeah, I think very, very relevant points there, right? I mean, firstly, nutrition does not mean boring food.
Yeah.
And secondly, apart from the obvious junk food that we all associate nutrition, excluding that associate nutrition with,
Yeah.
it could be, things that are as simple as milk or things that may not start agreeing with you at any point in time. It does not mean, and probably affects, the confidence of even high performers. So
yeah, like how I deal
brilliant.
with my clients, one of my very common things that I do with them is, especially this age group, right? Because they have preferences and they have apprehensions to go to a nutritionist, because first of all, their whole fundamental is, oh, dietitian khana nahi degi, she'll cut all my favorite food and I'll not get my chocolates and things. So I always tell them to do one exercise. Go home, on a sheet of paper, write down whatever you like. Okay, make a list of everything that you love, but you're not supposed to eat, and I will integrate it into your diet.
Wow.
And I manage. Even if I give them 4 preparations in the week, they're a happy kid, They don't feel like they are being taken away from the foods that they love to eat the most. And as an athlete, they can afford to eat it.
That's great. So I think all of us, all athletes who can still eat their favorite foods are definitely going to queue up at your office. Great, super insight. Yes,
I'd just like to add, this story is similar to, of course, Novak Djokovic has written a book about it, but it reminded me of how transformational it was. And so it just shows the importance of appropriate, proper nutrition.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, after that book, there have been various, documentaries and case studies that people have started coming up with as well. So super, I mean, great insight there. Just moving on to our next set of questions that sort of focus around tournaments and, activities and nutrition that can go around during tournaments. Nathan, starting off with you, given the fact that you're a 17-year-old cricketer, you'll have so many tournaments and matches that you'll be traveling for. So when you have those kind of travel and tournaments and matches going on, is it difficult to stick to a nutrition plan that now you have been given, and can you actually follow it, or how do you manage that aspect?
Yeah, so for sure, it's very hard, because especially when you're traveling abroad, it's very hard, because there's always something that you want to try from that place. And but I've been pretty strict on it. I will do it. I probably I try to I don't cheat on it a lot, but probably once or twice, and work towards it. But even for the athletes who, like, when I play my clients, if I'm going for probably a couple hours away, my match is a couple hours away, so I leave home by about 4 o'clock. So it's still hard to get food at 4 o'clock. So, and you have to go to restaurants to eat outside right before your game, and even home cooked meals is very hard at 4 o'clock. So, but you can get some healthy stuff outside. You will. So that's how I manage. And it has been times that I have cheated on it, and it's not that I'm perfect. It is hard, but I try to manage it. I'm pretty strict on it. For all the budding athletes out there, I know how hard it is, but you got to do what you got to do.
You got to do what you got to do. I think that's a super motivational, finishing line by Nathan there. If you want to become, and achieve success, I guess you got to do what you got to do. Kinita, so during tournaments, right? Is it advisable, like Nathan said? I mean, sometimes there are situations and circumstances that may not allow a strict diet. So, is it advisable to have a flexible diet, not only from that perspective, but overall, for a pre, during, and post tournament?
Yeah. Like even Nathan said that when you're traveling, you feel like eating some things, right? You really want to try a few things that are made there. And I personally feel, live a little, thoda to jeena padta hai na. You can't like be going all the way to Paris and then saying that, "Nahi yaar, I will just stick to my khichdi that I have prepared and I have come and just add hot water and have a porridge bowl." No, Nathan, I'm with you. I'm with every athlete who travels and who's a travel athlete, and I strongly believe that flexible plans are very, very critical for a nutritionist success with her athlete. Because if I'm going to be stuck up and I'm going to tell him to start carrying food, it gets complicated. The only issue comes here is you need to know exactly what suits and doesn't suit your athlete. So if I get a client who's going to be traveling in 2 weeks and he's an athlete at an elite level and going to be playing, and they say that, I'm traveling in 2 weeks, I need to know what to eat before my competition, I would not take that client up because I honestly don't know what they need. Okay, working with an athlete is a very long term relationship you need to have. You can't keep changing your coach 2 weeks before your actual competition. It's something like that, right? So if I know my athlete's body type, what works for him, what suits for him, every food group that comes under that category, it's very easy for me to plan a diet. Also, it's a lot about education. Sit across the table and educate. This is what you require. This is what you can eat. Avi, for instance, if I have to give you an example, I know my athlete responds well if he eats any form of non-gluten food before his competition. If I know that much, which I have probably made a consensus with him over a period of 6, 8, 10 months, and I have figured, okay, superb, these are your options. You are going to Tokyo for your run. This is what you can get. You can have rice crackers. You can have gluten-free oats porridge. You can have rice. You can have rice noodles. You can have rice-based dim sums. You can have sushi. You can have all these things. It's just a matter of knowing what suits. And you try your local foods and you can have anything and everything in that category. So with an athlete, you have to work on a calendar. That calendar is periodization. Okay,
right.
So exactly how you periodize their training, like even Nathan would know, Ameya would say, there is an on season, there is an off season. Your fitness routine changes in that. You are on some phases, you're working more on skills and conditioning. In some phases, you're working on body composition. Some phases, you're traveling.
Right.
So nutrition is an element that has to integrate with all these things. It can't be standalone and say that nahi tumko to yahi diet karna hai throughout the year. It doesn't work that way. So flexibility is key, and to know your athlete in and out is also a key factor. So yeah, that's what happens when they're traveling. I would definitely sit and let them eat a little, but at the same time, tell them what they're supposed to eat, educate them what they're supposed to eat.
Super. So live a little and obviously
Absolutely.
customize your nutrition to what you might be in based on the calendar of an athlete.
Yeah.
Even the variety, it helps actually, right?
Yeah,
like,
right. It helps.
Yeah.
It always helps. It makes you feel happy. Like I would not want to just keep eating the same thing all the time.
It gets you in a better mental space. It gets you in a better mental space.
Yeah, you perform better because you're mentally happier, you're eating, you don't feel bored. But there are people who love monotony. There are people who just want to eat the same food because of their nature and psychology. And if I get a client like that, I would be happy to work with him as well, him or her. Okay, you love monotony, let's stick to monotony.
If that makes them happy, so be it.
And superstition.
Yeah.
They're very superstitious. No, Kinita, I'm going to stick to that oats porridge. I'm carrying it from here and going. I'll not even try another brand. Okay, I'm with you. We're going to try that. But it has to be tried in my presence. I cannot give you something that is completely unknown because, when you travel, you have to acclimatize to the weather. You are trying to get used to that environment. And then I tell you to try a new food, which is completely out of the box. It might not suit. I have to know you before you leave.
Absolutely. And one of the important points you made earlier, is about educating them and sitting across the table, which is where my next question to Ameya is going to be. So, I mean, Ameya, NSL has been, has been supporting and continues to support grassroots level sport over the last 4 years. NSL has been a household name in about 1.5 lakh kids through various championships that you've supported, and probably getting even bigger going forward. What has been your thought process, on that set of, young athletes about, supporting them from one aspect, but also educating them about the importance, right?
Yeah, so we at Enerzal strongly believe that supporting sports is one of the best ways for us to give back to society and have a significant, meaningful impact on society. So children learn and develop physically, mentally, emotionally by playing and by playing sports. And so there's a famous quote by Swami Vivekananda, he has said, "You'll be nearer to heaven through football than through the study of the Gita." And we believe that. We believe that as young athletes, you develop several qualities. I, as a young athlete, learned to work hard. That sense of work ethic, self-discipline, the concentration, focus to pursue my goals. So, in similar ways, there are many other life skills and um, lifestyle habits that kids develop while they play sports. So we're completely convinced that we need to keep supporting grassroots sports. Coming to your question about how we want to help athletes develop their knowledge, even parents, that's definitely a meaningful journey that we want to be on, because um, we want to reach a stage where I would call it parents and children are Atma Nirbhar to, when it comes to nutrition, and they will consult experts, sports nutritionists such as Kinita, for more nuanced, more intricate, detailed aspects. So the basic level of knowledge and information where they are able to then develop good nutritional habits can be worked on. And we see ourselves being able to play a role there. We want to play a role in that journey. So.
Superb. I think, and over the last few years, I mean, the crucial words you used was that there has been a significant impact, on athletes, on young athletes, more importantly, and looking forward to, you being part of those, that impact at a much larger level in future as well. And
Yeah.
good to know that, you want to get, to a level where parents and athletes are actually, self-reliant and, like you said, Atmanirbhar over being educated about the importance of nutrition.
Yeah, and also another point, a very important point, this is nutrition aside, is coming to just the life skill of learning to face defeat, learning from that defeat, then going and playing another match, maybe winning that match, and learning to take that also in your stride. And those life skills are, there's no better arena to learn that than a sports arena. So we're absolutely committed to investing in sports, and we believe it's going to strengthen our nation.
Absolutely, I think a superb thought there. Moving on to, coming to Nathan and coming back to the point made earlier by all of you, which is, Nathan, like Kinita said, you still have to live a little and, enjoy things and be happy mentally to eat what you would want to eat. I'm sure there must have been times, in your career so far, after having, the customized nutrition plan, where you must have been forbidden, or asked to not eat certain food articles, especially before or during tournaments, but you must have had that craving to sort of still go and have it because that's what made you happy. So have you had these kind of experiences, and how do you then tackle them, whether it's mentally or just actually not doing it?
Yes, so what actually happened was, my nutritionist kept it very simple. She told me that I have to just cut down on all my greasy food and let the fluid go in, and eat probably complex carbohydrates, and keep it simple before, like, a couple of days my games, like my important games and all of that.
Right.
So I tried following it a lot, and because it was very hard to shift from what I used to eat and all of a sudden into such a strict nutritional plan. And I'm one of those very mentally strong people who, like, on nutrition, that okay, I have to follow this, I have to follow this. So, but I did try it in the beginning, and what happened then was I felt very good on the field. I felt very quick, and I thought, if this is how it is how it is. But I want to check, fine, if I change back to what I was doing before, will it dip? Will my performance dip? So I did try it for a week or two, and I felt difference. I felt my performance was going down, and I felt really slow on the pitch. And but then I realized how that's so. I always knew nutrition was very important, but not this important, because like I thought, okay, fine, I'm very young. It's probably I should live a little, as ma'am said. But no, I was living too much, not a little. So, but then I realized how important how important nutrition was, and then when I really started feeling good about what's right and what's wrong, and that's when I actually started following, and I haven't ceased since.
In fact, that's the sense, and that's the feedback that I've heard from a lot of athletes. It's when they actually tried doing something on their own, went off track just because they were tempted, and then realized that the performance actually was getting affected. That's when that realization hits, to say that no, something that I've been doing right needs to be continued, because that's what actually contributes to that last 10% performance that probably makes all the difference.
It's just that the problem is, Rajas, that by the time they realize, it's too late.
Yes.
Like Nathan, obviously, thank goodness, took the advice, and also because he was overweight and he wanted to up his game. He got the nutrition advice. He, as an athlete, was strong in his head to do this. But there are a lot of athletes who don't have any issue. They still perform exactly the same, even if they are eating 2 kilos of just watermelon in a day or having 6 burgers. Now, the problem is, it's after a certain age, and I always tell my athletes that they basically get 2 Olympic seasons to prove themselves. See, it is not like an MBA degree ki chalta raha, banayenge, 45 ke baad paisa banayenge. It's not like that. An athlete gets 2 Olympic seasons to make or break, to prove himself. And they should be in a situation where they should be able to do whatever it takes, right? And that does not mean, I'm not talking about aggressive calls, but giving it that 10 years of your life, if you want to, if you're really serious about that sport. But unfortunately, they realize that importance only after an injury hits, or only after, they have got some kind of spasm or are constantly fatiguing, not able to recover, is when they say, I think main na kuch gadbad kha raha hu. And by then they are 26, 28. And by then they have few more years left to make something about themselves. So educating this age group that we are targeting today, and more so the parents of this age group, is extremely important, because this is what makes an athlete. When you hear a 17-year-old talking about complex carbohydrate, the word that he just used, I'm so impressed right now. Because that's education. That's how you're supposed to be educated, to know what foods are.
Yes, absolutely. And that's exactly the aim of all of us, even being here today, to try and put it out there and educate as many people as possible, parents, coaches, athletes, all stakeholders. And I think a very, very critical point you brought out there is, the timing of when somebody realizes why it's so important. And the earlier you realize it, the better it will be for a sporting career. And I think that's a very, very relevant point for parents to note, right? And, it's great that you just mentioned that, because I was about to ask you something similar. Given the situation we are in, Kenita, which is, a lockdown for the last 2 months, we don't know how, things will pan out in the next couple of months. And nutrition will still be as important for athletes. Maybe their training schedules have changed. They're doing home training, a lot of, video training and all of that. What would your basic guidelines still be for kids in this situation, and also for parents, who are also probably grappling with, work from home, various other things in this situation, and still have to take care of their child's nutrition needs? So can there be some, basic pointers that kids and parents can follow in this given situation?
Okay, so let's not make this like a boring lecture. So I'm just going to give you like a quick tip. Okay, first of all, to just educate you on 3 very, very important things that you have to remember Okay, and the three things are: one is carbohydrate, two protein, and three is hydration. Now, your carbohydrate is energy giving, your protein is repairing, okay, and your fluid is basically makes what it makes for the entire body is the hydration level. Now, these are challenging times, okay? Nobody expected this, nobody's prepared for this, nobody's ever worked for this. But as a nutritionist, I am working currently. I'll just give you an example. Mere liye, this is an off season. Okay, for me, all my athletes right now are in off season who are working on conditioning and body composition because that's all they can do. Few athletes have the liberty of the space and are able to do skills and drills. But let's say broadly, sabka conditioning chalu hai. Now, when they're doing more of conditioning, certain kind of body weight training, their requirement of protein for recovery is very high. Number two, their requirement for hydration, because the weather is also right now very challenging. You are not outside, but even indoor, the humidity hits. So your hydration, now, I'm sure even Amaya must have faced this issue while he's educating people. There are a lot of parents who will be like, पर क्यों सप्लीमेंट देना है, क्यों पाउडर देना है, मैन्युफैक्चर नहीं देना है, मैं आई मेक ना घर पे नींबू पानी नमक वमक डाल के. While that is good for your child who is going down to play 1 hour with his friends. That is not something that is going to work for your athlete. Okay, so if your athlete is going to be doing like in half an hour conditioning in the morning and a 1 hour fitness training in the evening, his body demands a certain kind of sodium chloride and electrolytes. So you will have to put in a composition of electrolytes or a sports drink in the routine, and then come to carbohydrate. Now, carbohydrate gets a very evil description, but it's not. For an athlete, now what the parents and the child needs to know is carbohydrate is whatever gives you energy. From your sugar to your wheat to your rice to jawar, bajra, nachni to pasta to khichdi, everything is carbohydrate. You cannot withdraw it from the diet. So parents out there, mothers out there who are working, and I have absolute respect for you, and are struggling in the kitchen because your child is not getting to play his sport but is active, just remember these three guidelines. Every meal needs to have a combination of carbohydrate, protein, and fat. And if that carbohydrate is pasta, और उसके साथ आपने दिया कुछ भी protein, say from sprouts to paneer to chicken to eggs, कुछ भी, this is your combination, and then you need a fluid. Okay, so fluids, unfortunately, I cannot tell you get coconut water because it is tough. It is nimbu pani works, chash works. During the training, a thing like sports drinks like Enerzals work. So this is my key. So don't stress. Ghar pe jo banta hai, you make. Just remember these three things should be there in every meal. Don't try to make a separate meal for your child just because he is working out. So that should take the edge off you in the kitchen. Otherwise, you'll be making like 10 things for 10 people.
Right, absolutely, super. So, on that note, we're just launching a couple of polls for all our viewers so that, we get some insight on how they look at, sport and what they're doing during this lockdown. Nathan, moving on to you, given this situation, how difficult is it for you to cope up with home training or home, conditioning like Kinita mentioned in this period?
So like at home, I feel I'm enjoying lockdown because I have a long free time and I can work out throughout the day. And we also have our sessions like from the sports school. We have our sessions online, and we've been given a specific nutritional plan, so it's easy to follow. But when you're at home, it is hard because your grandmom's there, your aunties are there. You become weak. You're eating too much. Please eat this. This is what you're going to do for us. So you're here for 2 months. Please help us with this and all of that. And the kitchen is 2 steps away. But it's easier actually. It's easier to make your stuff in the kitchen because you have your space. You can get things available. But honestly, I feel this is a good time for us to reflect on all like our routines and to have a proper routine when we're back on track. But it's given me a lot of time to just be in a good space, like mentally or physically. And as ma'am said, I'm working on my conditioning, my strength with my teammates back in the sports school. And thankfully, we've been given a specific plan, but there are a lot of plans outside, and you can speak to a lot of people for plans. But as you said, sir, I feel it has been easy. It hasn't been hard for me because everything's avidly available, and you have a lot of time at home. You have all you want, but it's good if you have a proper routine rather than, because sleep, like people like, so for me, like teenagers my age, it's hard because you have your friends you're going to talk on Zoom call or probably the Instagram on Snapchat and all of that, and you'll watch a movie late night, which for athletes it's very important. You need to have a proper team. So unless doing too much and all of that, but the past 2 months, so I didn't have a specific routine in the first 2 weeks as such. But later I realized how important it was, because if it opens up in another 2 weeks or so, it'll be hard for me to get back on track. And I realized when I was training, so if I slept late the night prior to what my fitness sessions today, I felt very weak. And it's also, if you have your proper nutrition, you have everything, but still not sleeping right, it's not going to help. So that's why I even feel sleep is a very important part in our nutrition as well. I just want to mention it, but that's because for us, like teenagers my age, we don't, you know how it is. You don't sleep a lot. You're often up late all night. But yeah, sleep is very important for us athletes as well. With nutrition, it goes in hand.
Yeah, absolutely, and very interesting that you said, the issue is not only when you're traveling for sport, but probably also when you're home locked down with your grandmother and mother.
Pyar starts
Exactly.
coming out. Yeah, it's all Maa ka pyar, especially the elite athletes who've never been home.
Correct.
They are constantly struggling because all the favorite foods are getting made. And the first 1 month of this lockdown was very, very challenging, because ingredients were not available. So it was,
Right.
people were just so lost, athletes were lost, sudden drop in energy expenditure. And by the time we started realizing, acha, ye lamba chalne wala hai, then the discipline started coming in. Damage was already done in the first month with the Maa ka pyar.
Exactly.
Yes, absolutely true.
But you can't beat homemade food.
Can't, yeah. How?
For sure.
It's tough. I totally agree. But then you have to spend it. Athletes like Nathan have a very high energy expenditure, and their demands for energy are also very high. And when there is a sudden graphical drop in that kind of expense and intake, but be rest assured, Nathan obviously goes to a special sports school, but the younger athletes who are still, trying to get on the field, just have started or have been doing and have got this break, you all will be probably coming back in the game at the pretty much same fitness level. So don't be intimidated when you stand on that swimming line or you're standing on that athletic line to start, because
yes,
I personally feel they may be conditioned better, they may be disciplined, but they all are going to have a percentage drop from where they were before the lockdown. So the mental state of the athlete needs to be calmed down, keeping that in mind, because they might feel that, "Arey, wo to aage badh jayega, main piche reh jaunga," type, which might not happen.
Super. Absolutely. So before moving on to, Aman, and your experience when you were an athlete, I'll just quickly announce the poll results that we had, right? So,
Sure.
We have 43% of our viewers that have said that they're actually focusing on nutrition, during this lockdown. 53 have said not much. Hopefully after this session, that number, climbs to be much higher. And almost 69% of them have said that they're regularly playing sport or training even during this lockdown.
Excellent.
And a quick one here, just in terms of the consumption of water in a day, we have 21% of the viewers that have said they consume more than 3 liters, and about 38% that consume only about 2 liters. I think Amay, you would be the perfect person to probably help change those statistics.
Yeah, sure. So maybe if they're eating a lot of fruits and vegetables, they might still be getting fairly well hydrated, and it depends on their activity. Their, as Kinita said, if they're playing 1 hour a day or they're not playing at all versus 4 or 5 hours a day. So we'll have to look at all the
Correct. Absolutely. And it's not only about the water that you consume directly, it's about the watery fruits and vegetables that you might be consuming as well.
Yeah.
So Amay, you've played, tennis at a very high level. For those of you who don't know, Amay has been, within the top 10 at junior level tennis for a number of years, ranked within top 10 for a number of years. He's, in your days, there. I mean, one of your pictures. I don't know if you had that picture or not. Uh, and so if you could share some experience, you've been trained at one of the most elite academies, or rather, one of the best academies of tennis that Asia had back in time.
Yeah.
And how was your experience? And how did you focus on hydration, nutrition much back then?
Yeah. So my first ambition in life was to win Wimbledon, and so everything I did revolved around that single goal. And so from the age of 12, I was lucky to get into this elite tennis academy called Britannia Amritraj Tennis BAT in Chennai. So I was there from the age of 12 to 15, and that's way back in a complete different lifetime, from 1991 to 1994. And while the training was outstanding, we had coaches from all over the world. So also Mr. Vijay Amritraj himself, Anand Amritraj, Ashok Amritraj, they would come and play with us, train with us. Our meals were fairly ordinary, so our nutrition wasn't given the attention that, let's say, the nutrition gets today. So athletes are much more fortunate today compared to back then. And so this is, of course, more than 25 years ago. Today we live in a completely different world. We have experts like Kinita, who can give very specific nutrition plans to athletes based on how much they're training, their age, maybe gender. So sports science has evolved significantly, and it's really impressive. It's I'm happy to see that Nathan and athletes at a young age are aware of, as he said, complex carbohydrates. So at his age, I probably didn't really know what that was, and all we did was eat sambar. We were in Chennai, so we ate sambar rice and rasam, and that too would sometimes get over. So it definitely makes me look back and think, okay, if there was one thing that we maybe could have done better, it was the nutrition. And so today, I think I would encourage athletes to take advantage of all the resources that are available to ensure that they get the best nutrition. And that's going to help them grow bigger, stronger, and even 1 or 2 inches taller. 5 kilos of additional muscle can make a huge difference. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, superb. I think, like you said, it's a different lifetime and a different era, even in terms of sports science and all of factors that then developed into what we have today as various domains that actually make a sports person, especially in India and Asia at that point in time. So I think it's great that we've progressed to a very different level now in terms of the focus that these domains get. Nathan being one example, I'm sure there are so many other examples in our country, and we can only get better from here. Just before we move on to the Q&A section to round this session off, Kinita, if you have some key tips that we can give our young athletes, who are hearing us and watching us today, could be as simple or however you'd like to put it.
Definitely maintain discipline. Even like Nathan said, sleep is very, very critical. So maintain discipline. Don't do 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Netflix, because you are really not going to wake up with good energy. So keep a schedule, even if it's just for 4 days a week. It just keeps you in check. The other days can be used for good recovery. Remember, depending on the number of workouts that you're doing and the kind of workout they're doing, एक pre-workout meal होता है, एक during होता है और एक post होता है. These three are very important. What you ate before, what you're having during, and what you're going to do post. Now, this window is very important. So if I had to just tell you, pre-workout, somewhere within 1 hour, make sure you're eating a carbohydrate. During, make sure you're hydrating. Post is your recovery because it's tissue recovery. Even if it is a simple conditioning or a skills or a drills, or you're just practicing the ball on the wall, it is still, it requires focus and energy. So it's a skill workout. Even after that, you need tissue regeneration. So make sure there is some kind of protein that is happening post. So these three are my main tips of opportunity that I want to give you, especially if you're training, along with some kind of discipline, at least 4 times a week.
Superb. I think very simply and aptly put to, focus on discipline and schedule and the kind of, breakdown you can have to look at nutrition. Amay, your thoughts on rounding off this session, overall, or any experience that you'd like to again share?
So I think keep it simple. Make sure that discipline is right up there. I completely agree with Kinita. You have to learn to be self-disciplined because, again, if I go back to my back days, they disciplined us to begin with. But then once I left that, I learned to be self-disciplined. So there's a big difference in being disciplined by a parent or your coach or somebody, a warden when you're staying in a hostel, and learning self-discipline and learning that, okay, I need to sleep on time, wake up on time. And that will stay with you for the rest of your life. It'll help you to be a productive, happy human being for the rest of your life. So I think stick to the basics, eat good home cooked meals. Make sure you're drinking enough water, getting enough sleep. I think we've covered all the key points. It's been a very interesting
session. Because I feel everybody is rebooting, everybody is going to this phase. Everyone's going to come back. So in this lockdown, I feel you have either learned to discipline yourself, learned to eat right, and if you've not learned to do anything, then you clearly have issues. Okay, otherwise this is a phenomenal phase to reboot yourself and come back affirmative in whichever game you're going to come to play.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think those are some really, really, important points to note for all kids and parents. Keep it simple, stay disciplined, and, come out of it as a better athlete, as a better disciplined person. So jumping onto the question and answer session now, Ginita, before I move on to the more important or more serious question, there's a very interesting question that someone has asked you. And it says, I'm going to read it out. It says, what are your views on consumption of pizza for young athletes?
I also read that. Okay, so here comes the question, not only just for pizza, but any kind of junk food which we categorize it. You'll be surprised to know that a lot of athletes and certain sports can get away with eating these kind of foods because their body actually demands a certain kind of carbohydrate for fast recovery. A very common thing if you see for a marathoner is post their marathon run, which they finish on an ultra marathoner, they usually chug loads and loads of beer. And that's because it gives them immediate carbohydrate back into their specific stores from where they have lost. So pizza is a phase of periodization. And trust me, when I take that list from the kids that who work with me of what they love the most, you can make a very healthy pizza at home, or you can eat a Domino's pizza. But I can give both in an athlete's diet. It just has to be in periodization. Whether that pizza gets absorbed correctly, stays in digestion, all depends at what time of the year, in which phase am I giving it to you. Okay, and if I'm struggling with body composition, if I got an athlete like Nathan who was overweight and I need to get him off that little bit of weight, maybe that's not my phase. But if I've got an athlete who's fitter, who's working, hours in the day and is going to be traveling, then my pizza as a quick absorbing carbohydrate, getting protein from the cheese and getting that little veggies, I wouldn't resist prescribing something like that if it's made not from like a Domino's chain. And you have to understand, see, athletes live in very complex conditions. Okay, if you have an athlete in India, he could be living in a academy where they depend a lot on ordering foods from out. Okay, so while the academy might be giving them food, there is always a phase where you want to order food from out. So that liberty you have to give, whether it is your sports academy, the Sai Academy in Punjab or Haryana or wherever. And then when they're traveling, and if I don't give them something like that, चलो मान लिया कि चलो बहुत हेल्दी एथलीट है, उसको नहीं देना है बाहर का खाना, तो जब ट्रैवल करेगा, इट्स अगेन कॉम्प्लिकेटेड फॉर मी. खिचड़ी लेके जाएगा, नहीं लेके जा सकता है. सो आई हैव टू टीच देम टू ईट दोस थिंग्स इवन व्हेन दे आर हियर.
Yep, absolutely superb. So Nathan, next question, directed at you. But before I get to that, I think, to simply summarize, I think, Kenita, you can eat everything. Just be mindful of what works with an individual and what time it's being consumed, right?
Yeah.
So
Correct.
to the person who asked the pizza question, if you're in need of the carbs or the carbohydrates, and you can really not get too affected by it, absolutely go for it.
Yes. 100%. And if you're training, but if you're going
If
to
you're
have it
training.
at 3 in the morning watching Netflix, not happening.
Not happening. Nathan, there's a question directed to you. It's from Pritika. She asks, what keeps you motivated to maintain discipline towards your nutrition plan, even when you're surrounded with, delicious food or junk food?
It's just the drive to want to be the best player I can be. It's that drive. If you know your line that you have to maintain, it's just that, because it's what motivates you. If look, why do you want to start if you're not going to go all the way? That's what I do. That's how I keep it as such, because that's what motivates me, because I feel there's no use in probably investing my time and all of that if I'm not going to take the sacrifices, and if I'm not going to go all the way. And that's what changed for me as I came in as a chubby kid. And it comes from home as well, because my mom motivated me a lot in all of this. She told me, that's what she told me, if you're going to invest all your time and all of that, you got to go all the way. Otherwise there's no use of you playing the sport and just be another kid of I just want to play for recreational. There are people who do want to do that, and so be it. But what motivates me as a person was, if I'm going all the way, and that's what motivates me. Just doing the right things right, and just drawing the line.
Yeah, I think that line pretty much sums it up. If you've started something, you have to go all the way, and it sort of reminds me what Colonel Rajyavardhan Singh Rathod said after he had won the silver. He said, I wasn't here to just be a passenger in the journey of life. He always wanted to do something much more and contribute, and make sacrifices that will lead to that achievement. Superb. So I think these, yes, absolutely.
I just want to add to that. When we talk about foods, and Kenita, I'm sure she'll have some real life experience with this. Over a period of time, you can develop good food habits. You can start enjoying fruits. And fruits are good for you. You can start enjoying eating broccoli.
Yeah.
I really enjoy eating broccoli. I enjoy eating several foods that people say are healthful, and so I would prefer them naturally over junk food. Yeah. So also that has to be inculcated over a period of time, and it starts from a young age.
Absolutely. I so agree with you.
Yeah.
So just want to add another point on that. It's how you take it into your head. Like, if you realize that this is good, it's you telling yourself. If you say, okay, fine, fish is not good and I just don't like it, it's always going to be that way. It's about, I was reading this book the other day. It's called Power of Your Subconscious Mind. So it's about, if you actually want something in it, you got to think in a positive way, saying, okay, this will help me, and this. And then you just see the results, and you start liking it. So that's all I just want to add. It's how you change your mindset towards whatever you got to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's bang on. And I think these questions are quite real questions from young athletes who still not have full clarity of thought of how to approach it. Next question is to you, Ameya. It's from Vaishali, and she asks, what changes do you see in the way professional athletes, their parents, and coaches approach nutrition as compared to the times when you were playing professionally?
So one big difference is the basic knowledge has definitely gone up. People now know the macronutrients. They know, like Kanita was explaining, protein, carbohydrate, fats. They also know some of the micronutrients, and so there is an increase in knowledge and also a willingness, an eagerness, willingness, and capacity to go and get help. That is, go and consult a sports nutritionist, go spend that time, energy, money, and get advice from someone, follow that advice. So when it comes to nutrition, I definitely see people reaching out for advice, reading, and making an effort now. Of course, with the internet, there's so much information out there. Not all of it is reliable. We all know that.
Yes.
So you ask, you do searches, you ask questions, you ask your friends, you ask experts, and in general, that has also been happening with their training. And people now want the best for their kids, and so there is definitely that capacity and willingness to go after the best. And so yeah, there is a big difference, I feel, from the time I was playing tennis and now.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the information available, the accessibility, and the ease with which you can use that information. I think with that, we'll sort of end this beautiful session. I feel it was an extremely informative, insightful session. Thanks to all of you. And before I call it, and I'd like to announce the next webinar that we're going to have. It's a topic that's extremely close to our heart, has been for the last 4 years, and it's called She is Gold. It's basically going to be a webinar that's going to focus on nurturing the female athletes of India. We've had various initiatives in the past with respect to the She is Gold campaign, and going forward, this is going to be the next webinar that we'll have. We'll send out details very soon to all of you. Thank you, Ameya. Thank you,
SFA.
Kinita. Thank you, Nathan.
Thank you.
Nathan.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Ameya.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Great
Brian.
one.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Ethan. Bye, Kanita.
Bye,
you.
bye, Ameya.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks.
Thank you.